Welcome to Evolve Your Life, the podcast where values meet vision, ambition meets alignment, and family fuels your purpose. I'm Dr. Stefanie Ascher, chiropractor, entrepreneur, homeschool mom, cancer warrior, and your go-to girl for building harmony in every area of life. Around here, women step into living fully and authentically, and we believe you are capable and worthy of it all. So grab your coffee, get cozy, and let's evolve your life together. Hey love, welcome back to Evolve Your Life. Today is part 3 of the building series, and this is the episode all about the pressure and the urgency. This is the part of the story that is not glamorous, but is just very real. And what I realized is everybody enjoys the vision, they celebrate the win, but nobody really prepares you for the messy middle. Up until this point, everything felt exciting and full of possibility. And then the Monday before Thanksgiving, everything changed. I had a call scheduled on the Monday before Thanksgiving with the attorney and the contact at the bank, and it was a closing call. I had actually requested that this call be done about a month earlier because when we were on hold from the government shutdown, like I talked about in the last video, I was trying to get ahead and prepare as much as possible. So I wanted to be on top of things and get ahead of things so that when that government opened back up, we were just ready to hit the ground running. Needless to say, that did not happen. And so the Monday before Thanksgiving is when I had my closing call. On this call, I was handed a checklist of about 25 to 30 items, and every item had layers to it. There was between 2 and 6 tasks for every item on this checklist. And it wasn't just that there were so many layers and so many things on the list, but it was that all of a sudden I was in full go mode. There was no easing into it. And overnight, everything became extremely urgent at a time when everybody was starting to settle down and relax and get ready for the holiday season. So this timeline that I was all of a sudden up against felt really heavy and very stressful. And so I received this on a Monday at lunchtime, which meant I had 2 days before Thanksgiving to get as much done as I could for people to start checking items off of my task list before they were off for a couple of days for the holiday. After the week of Thanksgiving, we had 3 full working weeks until the week of Christmas. And our closing had to happen by December 31st, but realistically, everybody was slowed down. Everything was happening slower. Everything was taking longer. What should have been 1 or 2 emails was really 5 to 10 emails and multiple phone calls to get things done. I was having to micromanage a lot and stay on top of everybody involved, from insurance companies, multiple insurance companies, to the bank, to the attorneys. I had to make sure everybody was working seamlessly together to get these tasks completed in a timely manner. And we were staring at Christmas. And so when people came back from the holidays, they were just in a different state of mind. And we only had those 3 full weeks. And we were still waiting on the environmental study. We were still waiting on the appraisal. After the appraisal is received, it has to go through the SBA for approval, as well as this entire task list has to be completed for SBA clear to close as well. And so I would prefer to be waiting on other people for things, I think, is what I thought. But realistically, I felt like I had somewhat control of this situation, because if I could get my timeline done, then we just had to have everybody get on the same page, wrap things up, and be clear to close. But there was no margin for delay. This was a very tight timeline. And although we had until the 31st, realistically, I knew that if we didn't close by December 23rd, it was very unlikely that we were going to close the first 2 days of the following week, which was the week of New Year's. And so I had to also step into a version of myself that I didn't fully recognize and that I've never been before, because I had the most amount of skin in the game. Nobody else was staying on top of the things like I was going to. I was needing to take phone calls and answer urgent emails during adjusting shifts. I was constantly checking my email. I was carrying this deal in my head at all hours of the day and night. This deal was getting carried everywhere with me. And this was such a heavy weight to carry because this season pulled my attention away from where I wanted it to be. And this part was not fun for me. I love quarter 4 of the year. That is when I am all the way in on my goals. I am full sending it until the end of December so that as a team, we can step into a next level of leadership, that we are creating strong momentum going into the following year. We were chasing down really big goals, and we had been working so hard all year long that I just wanted to continue pushing forward with that. I wanted to be all in at Evolve, all in on patient care, all in on my team. And what happened was things got so hard and so heavy and so all consuming that I got to a point where, not because I didn't care and not because the vision didn't matter, but because I was carrying such a heavy burden that I didn't care if the deal was done. I didn't care if it all fell apart because I had turned into a version of myself through having to be so all in on this project in such a tight timeline that my energy was shifting. I wasn't my normal, happy, optimistic self. I was losing joy. And for me to have that thought, like, hey, if it all falls apart, it's actually a relief, is so not like me. And I was losing my joy more than losing the deal. And that's when I realized how much this process was really costing me emotionally. I had to apologize to the people in my life for how I was showing up, which is something I've never done before. If you know me and are around me regularly, you know that I do my best every day to show up as 100%, even if I only have 10% to give, no matter what season of life it is, through my cancer battle, through my miscarriages, through personal hardships. No matter the challenge, I try so hard to show up as my best self, give my all, remain positive and happy and joy filled. And this end part of the process completely stole my joy. And that is a hard lesson to learn, is that expansion can cost you your peace if you are not very careful. And right when I needed support the most is when I was reminded that I wasn't doing this alone. One of the coolest parts of this process was that the people who were directly surrounding me are the people who carried me through. And having the right people in your corner changes everything, because support doesn't always remove the pressure, but it helps you carry it. And so the title company for my deal is owned by my best friends. And they're people who know us, people who love us. They have walked through so many seasons of life with us. And they were such a blessing in this process and made it so much more fun. They answered my questions. They gave guidance and clarity to things that I wouldn't have even thought of. They helped me stay steady when things felt really hectic. And even up until 9 o'clock the night before my closing, when things were still happening and the loan packets were changing, they just were so steadfast and we're all in on, we are getting this deal closed and we're closing it on the 23rd. And that was such a blessing. And to have the love and support of my team meant the world, because I was not carrying this burden and this load very well, but my team really rose to the occasion. And that is the best part of having a team of leaders, is when I had to step back and step in the office to take the calls, answer the emails, have Maddie print and scan and email me tons of signature documents. They were just on it. My team was so on top of stuff that the office didn't falter at all, even if I was being forced to remove myself a little bit. New patients were getting excellent care. All of our people were served at the highest level through Dr. Olivia's adjustments. Maddie was running the front like a boss. That's why you have an office manager like that who can maintain your schedule and the flow. And my team carried the energy and the culture of Evolve even when I couldn't. And that meant the absolute world to me. That final stretch was really difficult, but that support from my team, my friends, my family meant the world to me. This is the part that no one talks about on Instagram. This isn't the part that is glamorous or pretty, but realistically for me, the pressure didn't end until the ink was on the paper, and it was a lot. I think I signed 300 signatures, but sitting at that table with my realtor, Jen, who did such an amazing job for us throughout this whole process with walking me through it and guiding me through it. And my best friend, Patrick, doing all the title work. I got to sit there and step into a different version of myself and a new identity and step into the vision that I'm cultivating and carrying forward. And some of the wins are just a whole lot sweeter with the people who are sitting beside you and the people that are rallying around you. And after that moment, everything shifted. We got to walk into the building as a family. We took the kids and met the contractor there, and we just got to walk around the space and enjoy the fact that it was ours. There was no noise, no tenants. It was just a building full of possibilities. And that's what it's all about. It's not just a building, it's our legacy. And now I'm in a beautiful pause where I'm just on hold. The tenants are still in the space for about another month and a half, and construction hasn't started yet. We're getting the permitting process wrapped up, and there's something really beautiful about this pause because I just get to dream and I get to sit back and be grateful for all of the lessons that I learned throughout the process. I've learned how essential it is to protect my peace. And after I walked through that and went through a season where I didn't feel like myself and was not proud of the person that I was becoming, I've completely shifted the boundaries in my life and in my mind so that I'm shutting things off at the appropriate time so that I'm not. Okay, so the internet just went completely out in the middle of the podcast as I was getting ready to wrap it up. And I'm just going to say this is also a PS message because sometimes you just got to keep moving forward. You got to get a little gritty. I'm hooked to my hotspot, but we're going to finish this off strong. So let's jump back in. So I've learned how to shut my brain off at the appropriate times so that I'm not carrying the mental and emotional burden of all of the tasks and the to-dos around the clock because I was lacking presence and intentionality in all that I was doing. And I would say this is a level of mental discipline that I have never had before. And I'm realizing how essential this is into the next version of me and the next level of me becoming more and carrying and stewarding more is to learn how to push pause and how to shut it off. And I have experienced a level of mental freedom by having this discipline in my mind to not be thinking about or worrying about things that were not getting done right that minute. And I've never experienced that before. Normally, even if I'm doing self-care or playing with the kids or doing bedtime routine, I'm thinking about a million different things. And it is just so refreshing and light to be able to turn it on and off at the appropriate times. So when I'm with my family, I can be all in with my family. When I'm all in with my team, I'm all in with my team. When I am in CEO go mode and I'm checking things off the list and creating systems and working on procedures and all of the things that drive the business forward, then I'm in that mode. But this season is about coming back to myself and really learning the skill sets like this mental discipline to be able to steward all of these blessings. Since stewardship is my word for 2026, I am needing to learn how to do things new and different and better so that I can have true joy and harmony among all of the things that I am creating and cultivating and carrying forward. This is not the end of the building story. Future updates will come as construction begins, but this chapter mattered. It was the beginning of my journey of owning commercial property. And I just want you to remember that the messy middle isn't failure, it's becoming. So if you're in the messy middle right now, you are not behind. You're building, you're learning, you're growing, and you get to carry all of those lessons with you into the next season. Thanks for hanging out with me today on Evolve Your Life. If this episode inspired you, leave a review, share it with a friend, follow so you never miss a moment, and come connect with me on Instagram at Dr. Stefanie Ascher. Until next time, keep evolving your life boldly, beautifully, and unapologetically.